R. Cox Music presents free videos for solo fingerstyle guitar. Hey everybody, Bob Cox here. Hey, tonight I want to take a look at a very interesting concept using a tune called the Cold Duck Time, which is a great jazz tune written by Eddie Harris. It's been around a long time. It's quite a standard, and it's fun to play. It's essentially a 12-bar blues tune. That's the form it's written in, and it uses 4 chords. One of the unique things about it, and there are several, but one of the most unique things is it doesn't use the 5 chord. Usually in a 12-bar blues, if it's just a very basic 12-bar blues, chord-wise, chord structure-wise, you would have the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. And this one uses the 1 chord and the 4 chord in the first 8 bars, and then when it gets to ninth bar, where traditionally the 5 chord would show up, it goes up a minor third from the 4 chord, and then up another whole step, and then whole step to the root. So it's an interesting form, like I said. It's got a simple melody, which is good. The purpose of what I want to show you, though, with us using this song, is to use it to play the melody and the accompaniment, kind of going back and forth, vacillating back and forth between accompanying yourself and playing the melody. It's not the kind of song that you would probably normally play too much if you're doing solo guitar, because of the way the melody goes. But I've found a way, for me anyways, using this concept of tritones for one thing, and chord fragments, or tritones in this case, along with the melody, and interweaving those. So it's a good discipline. I used to teach this kind of thing in college about how to take a 12-bar blues and state a tritone and for a bar, and then play a bar of accompaniment, and then go back and forth and so on to get through it. So this will be fun to do. So first of all, let's talk about the form. If we break it down into 3 4-bar sections, the first 8 bars are going to be the same. The first 4 bars are the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and then the second group of 4 bars does the same thing: 1 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, 4 chord. Each chord receiving 1 measure. And then in bar 9, like I said, normally you would go to the 5 chord. We're going to go up a minor third. In this case, we're going to be in the key of E. So we're going to go from an A to a C, and to a C major 9 specifically. So the chords are going to be da 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 da, and I'll show you the melody in a minute. Da 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 da. It's the 4 chord A7. Da 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 da. So we want E7, A7. E7, A7. Gonna do it again. This is the second group of 4 bars. Da 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 da. Now we're in bar 9. It plays a C major 7 in this key. Move up 2 frets, and just remove your pinky from the C major 7, and you'll have a D major 9, and then go up another whole step if you wanted to an E, or stay right here, and then you can play an E7 here using the C7 shape if you want. All right. So again, the form. Repeating that. C major 7, D major 9, and then E. Okay, now the melody is about like this. It's just repeating. Then it changes here in bar 9, holds that note, back to the D note or the E note, and then you can play E again. So simply, I'll slow it down again and I'll play it again. 1, 2. And I'm playing this bass note is an E to an A to an E and an A, so you can kind of hear the chord underneath. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is I'm going to take a tritone, which is the fundamental interval or the basic interval in a dominant seventh chord. It's the third and the seventh. If you play this C7 shape down here, the tritone would be the middle finger and the pinky. Those two notes. That's the third and the seventh of C7. Well, I'm going to come up here to the fifth position, and those same two notes, only I'm going to finger them with my middle and ring. My middle is going to play the G sharp on the 4th string, 6th fret. My ring's going to play the D on the 3rd string, 7th fret. That's the 3rd and the 7th of the E7 chord. And if you put the E on the bottom, if you tap the E string, you can hear that. So what we're going to do is like this, and then melody again. We're going to hit the 5th string open and move this tritone back a half a step. And when it comes down a half step, it'll become the 3rd and the 7th of an A7. Okay, now I'm not going to get too technical, but with these two chords, it sounds like E7, these two notes I mean. Then you move this tritone back a half step, it also functions as A7. So instead of having to go and playing full chords, you can use these two tones, which will very strongly suggest the E7 and the A7. Then when we get to the C in bar 9, I'll play the full chord. And the D major 9 here, I'll play the full chord. So let me kind of demonstrate what I'm doing. It's a good exercise. I used to teach this in college to some of the students about how to accompany yourself with a 12-bar blues, doing a tritone thing like this, and then filling in with some improvisation. So instead of improvising right now, we're gonna play the melody, and we're gonna go back and forth between melody and accompaniment. We'll go through it a couple times, and then we'll talk about how to improvise a little bit. But first of all, let me play it slow. It's going to sound a little square, a little rough, because it's kind of hard to play this and get a groove going while I'm explaining it. So it's, but you know, it's doable. You'll be able to do it, and it'll be a lot of fun for you. And it's a great challenge to keep it together to make sure that you're not, you know, making too many beats in a measure. You got to switch chords when it's time, and get back to the melody when it's time. There's some room, some leeway for you, but not a whole lot of wiggle room. Okay, so here we go. The melody is, so I play that, then I hit the top string open, then my tritone, 5th string open, then my tritone down a half step, which now is A7, back to the melody again, back to the A. So that measure was, or that series of measures. Now we're going to bar 9. It would go, and I just let it ring, come up to the D major 9, and then it just stops. But you can put a little fill in, or whatever. So let me kind of just play it once and not say too much. One more time. Again. that's it. I played through it twice. Now, at this point, I would probably improvise a lot. I haven't worked out a lot of improv for this. It's just more of a, I've worked more on the melody and going back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But I might do something like this. One more time. Might do something like this. Now it's bar 9. And then whatever. Any kind of fill in there, or you could just stop. Okay, and so on. Now, it's pretty rough, I know. I understand. Like I said, it's hard to demo this and have it groove at the same time for me. But when you have some time alone like it with it, and I get time alone with it, I can make it respectable. Okay. Now, let's talk about some more accompaniment. And then fill there a little bit or whatever, but you start to feel the groove now. Now, a little bit more on the accompaniment. Let's say we add one more note on the 2nd string on the 8th fret. Okay, now you got a 7 sharp 9 chord, an E 7 sharp 9. You get these same 2 notes, but you added this G. Okay, now when you move that back a whole step, that becomes an A13. Okay, just because of this tritone deal. And if you put an A root with it, you've got an A13. Now you could have see? Any kind of little chordal fill you want to put in there, it's wide open for improv, whatever you want to do. Okay, now let me see. Another thing I do sometimes when I'm fooling with this is I'll bring it down an octave. Okay, so now I move this tritone, come up a set of strings and down a fret. That's the same notes, only now the D is on the bottom and the G sharp's on the top. So you essentially took this D note off the top and put it down here an octave lower. So you can go moving back a half step, same thing. Okay. Then I simply play a C major 7 here, move up 2 frets, move these 2 notes up 2 frets, and I put this, I got the A on this 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and there's a B here, so there's a D major 9 there. C major 7, and then usually I'll just play back here and play the part of the E chord here. I've got the G sharp on the 1st fret and the E on the 4th string 2nd fret, and the first 2 strings are open. So we have Then that's just a little run in 6 intervals. Coming right down the E scale. You could put any run or fill in there that you wanted to. So that's another way to do the melody. You might do the melody here twice. Now, another thing you could do, here's a B7. If you play this D note, you got a B7 raised 9 down here. Now, you could play this, which is an E13. And again, here's my tritone that I just played a minute ago for the 4 chord, but I also added this note, so this makes it part of A9. So now I'm playing. So using these chord fragments is very, very helpful in a situation like this. So we could have wow. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's a mind. It's kind of a mind boggler a little bit to be going back and forth between the two and keeping it together. Especially if you're trying to be spontaneous and not. I'm trying not to have something that's overly rehearsed because I lose the spontaneity and the kind of the live feel. So I have a couple lines, of course, that I use. My go-to lines will say that I've developed to play. But for the most part, I like to improvise while I'm doing it as much as possible. And so each time it's going to be a little different. Now, the form's going to stay the same, but what I'm going to play in the accompaniment will be different. So I might not always play that sequence I just played with those 3-note chords there. Then you might come up here. And then here's the same E7 sharp 9 that we played down here. For E7 sharp 9 up here, when you move back, it can be the same thing. It's a 5th string 11 and the 4th and 3rd strings at 12. And so I'll just bar these two with my ring, and then I usually use my index finger on the 5th string. So we got, let's see, I'm not sure where I'm starting, but let's say I'm at the beginning. Or if I'm getting down in this range, I'll just move it over a set of strings to strings 2, 3, and 4. So you might investigate in your own playing, like, where are these tritones? And find those, and then find ways to intersperse those with your melody playing. So, anyways, it's just a lot of fun to fool around with, and I thought I would make a kind of a short video about it. Let me see if I've said everything about it. 12-bar blues, tritones. The melody is kind of call and response. I was going to mention that. You have in melody, a lot of times you'll have a question or an answer, question, answer, call and response. It's termed sometimes. Like that's a statement, and that's like an answer. It's like a conversation. That could be like a longer answer, call and answer in the same, by the same person. answer, call, answer, so so if you kind of listen for that in melodies, that's another good way to memorize melodies. Okay, I think I've said everything I want to say about it. Like I said, I was pretty sloppy playing it, but you get the idea. I'll play it again as I go out here, and I don't think there's any need for the chord diagram, so I didn't put any in. Just tritones. If you go back and watch the video, you'll see it. All right, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. See? That's what I mean by trying to keep the form. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.